Merry Christmas! This is not a Christmas movie. Stop it. Just stop it, everyone.
Even the director says it's not a Christmas movie. Like,
we'll get into, listen, the whole Die Hard is a Christmas movie is kind of like the pineapple on pizza debate and Waluigi for Smash Bros. 95% of the people who talk about it don't actually care or believe a word that they're saying. It's just a meme that they're playing into. People say Die Hard is a Christmas movie just so that they can say Die Hard is a Christmas movie and be like, aha, I said it, everyone. Yeah, I said that thing. Yeah, that makes me cool, right? No.
It takes place on Christmas, but it doesn't really have much to do with it.
Here is the definition of a Christmas movie. If you change the date to any day other than Christmas, will it affect the plot? If the answer is yes, it's a Christmas movie. If the answer is no, it's not a fucking Christmas movie.
So does that mean It's a Wonderful Life is not a Christmas movie? Because I feel like that could be...
That's a gray area one. That one's kind of in the middle because the fact that it's Christmas, it adds to... It's a Christmas movie in a very dark way.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, Christmas is the time you're supposed to be with people, so if everyone hates you, it's going to bring about depression. So and Christmas is like the time with the highest amount of suicide rates. So the fact that it's about a guy who's thinking about killing himself, Christmas does kind of play into it a little bit. Like, I know that's not the answer everybody wanted about It's a Wonderful Life. But yeah, it is kind of the reason why it is. But yeah, anywho, so we're reviewing this for Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, for years I've been wanting to do something on this channel called the Bah Humbugathon. Or no, just the Humbugathon. That's what I want to call it. I've been wanting to do the Humbugathon for a while, in which we did like a whole week of us just reviewing films set at Christmas or really messed up Christmas films. But we're always just so busy at Christmas time that we never get the chance to do it. But this year I was like, no, we're going to do at least one. We're going to do at least one. And I feel like if you're going to do like the king of movies that happen to be set at Christmas that no one will shut up about because it's set at Christmas, Die Hard's kind of the one you have to do. I wanted to do Krampus or Silent Night or that weird like Swedish one about Santa being found frozen in a block of ice and it turns out Santa's actually a demon. That's a movie. But no, this is kind of the one that you have to do. So yeah, we are going to review Die Hard for everyone. And I will make a confession, even though I am in my 30s at this point, this is the first time I've ever actually seen Die Hard.
Yeah, same here.
I know that it is a classic, but the main reason why I have not seen Die Hard until now is because about 5-6 years ago, it was on Netflix. And I started watching it on Netflix, and I got like 12 minutes into it, and I was like, this is really good, but I got other stuff I gotta do, so I'll just come back to this tomorrow, and I'll continue it then. And then literally that night, they took it off Netflix. So for 5 years, I've been sitting there just going, it'll come back. It'll come back. And that was like the first like 2 years of it. And then after that, it became like a point of pride. Like it was just like, no, it's the principle of the thing. It was on Netflix. I started watching it there. I am not going to watch this thing until it comes back to Netflix. But this was the year in which I finally had to go, this is a dumb thing to be proud of. This is a dumb thing to hold on to. Just go ahead and watch the dumb thing. So yeah, we finally decided to actually pay for the thing and actually watch it. And yeah, man, people do not overhype this film. This is a damn good movie.
It is.
It's been a long time since I've watched a movie with you and actually seen you like saying that far ahead, like just like, you were like intensely focused on this film. Like you were getting into it. And I can't blame you. This is a great movie. For anybody who doesn't know, it stars John McClane, which it's so weird to say the words John McClane because he's so closely associated with Bruce Willis that I had to like stop myself for a split second there and go, did I just say the actor's name instead of the character's name? But stars John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, who he's going from New York all the way out to California to see his wife, who they're not
like sort of separated.
Trial separated kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like basically.
They're not divorced. They're still.
It's like she moved out to LA because she got like a job offer or something and like he was just too stubborn to go with her, so.
That's the kind of guy that John McClane is. But he goes out there and, he arrives at this big Christmas plaza at this brand new building, the Nakatomi Plaza, and then it gets attacked by terrorists. And John McClane, being a cop, it's his job, and also being like the one guy who was not at the party at the time, he was in a different room, it's up to him to run through this giant building and try and save everyone with basically just his wits and whatever bullets he can fit in his unlimited 6-shooter.
And, like, he was the only one who could do it because, like, not only was he, like, a cop, but, like, he was also, like, on the inside. Like, when they called the police, they couldn't really infiltrate the building, so...
Yeah, and a lot of people applaud this character because they say that one of the reasons that John McClane is such a great character is because he is a normal human being, because he gets the crap kicked out of him in this film, and it shows. Like, he is actually wounded. He is actually injured. Everybody talks about how great the walking through glass scene is because they actually have to stop and show him prying the glass out of his feet.
Yeah, it's like he was barefoot throughout most of this movie.
I'd always heard about that scene about how, like, you see him, like, have to walk through glass with bare feet. I didn't know he's also barefoot throughout the entire film because of just bad luck he happened to have his shoes off at the time. And man, have you ever tried, like, just walking around barefoot for an entire day? It hurts.
And it's like, I like how, like...
Maybe not hurts, but, like, it's annoying.
I like how Hans, like, the guy in charge, he noticed that, like, that he wasn't wearing any shoes, and he literally tells his henchman, shoot the glass.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, so that's good, that's clever.
Yeah, Hans Gruber is a smart villain in this thing. Like, there's that moment in which he has to, like... in which John McClane, like, points his gun at him, and Hans, like, in a second realizes he hasn't actually seen me. He doesn't know that I'm one of the terrorists, and he has to pretend to be just one of the scared partygoers. But then, of course, and we're going full spoilers on this one. Whenever we do the post-Geekout retrospectives here, in which we talk about older films, we don't wait to do the spoilers. So if you haven't seen Die Hard, and you're like us, sorry, but you're all looking at that scene, and, like, John McClane is giving Hans Gruber a gun because he thinks he's just another partygoer. And then Hans Gruber pulls the trigger, and there's no bullets in there, and John McClane is like, yeah, I'm smart too. Smart villain, smart hero, you're both clever. All right, cool. Also, can we point out about that scene that you've got Alan Rickman, a British man, doing a German accent, doing an American accent.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And because what made that scene incredible is that you could still kind of hear the German accent coming out, but not the British accent in his American voice that he was trying to do. Yeah, man, that's insane that he pulled that off. But yeah, everybody talks about how John McClane is this great character and that this movie's so cool because he is the everyman and he's getting the crap kicked out of him throughout this film. The other reason why John McClane and also Carl Winslow, and I know that's not his character's name.
I know, but, like, that's how we all know him, so...
yeah, it's literally that actor playing a cop. It's, in fact, there was a rumor that apparently Family Matters was going to start as a spin-off of Die Hard and he was going to be the same cop. That's a rumor. It might be completely bunk. Who knows? But yeah, the reason why those two guys are so great is... and something that no one ever talks about in this film, they're also the only two good guys in this movie who aren't actively fucking up and making everything worse for them. Everybody in this movie who tries to help makes it so much worse. And you see McClane and Carl Winslow there the entire time like, no, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad.
Although his wife was pretty smart, like the way she, like, talked to, like, Alan Rickman about, like, the hostages, they need places to sit and they need to use the bathroom if you're gonna hold them up here and everything. So it's like she did not exactly help, but she wasn't hurting him. Exactly.
In this movie, that's something.
Yeah, which is better than the douchey boyfriend she was dating with.
That's one of the only problems I really have about this movie. I really like this movie, but one of my only problems is that her boyfriend is such a douchebag. I can't imagine why anyone would want to date him. Like, at all. Like, he has zero redeeming qualities. The very first time that you're introduced to him, he's doing coke. Like, he just finished doing coke. Because, like, his head comes off here like, hey, how you doing? Hey, It's okay, Peach. It's okay, buddy. But, like, this guy was the perfect personification of 80s cokehead. This entire movie, it was filmed in 1988, but it does not feel like an 80s movie at all. It feels kind of timeless because no one's wearing 80s clothes. No one's making references to the stuff that's specific to the 80s. Like, everything in here feels like it could happen today. There's only two things in here, though, that kind of firmly set it in the time period. One is that when John McClane comes in there and they've got like the automated lookup screen where you have to look up like who's where and such, and they're like, oh, gee, this is the future. Well, okay. That's now such a common thing that's like, okay, well, that kind of points out the date. But the other thing is the boyfriend. Because he is such an 80s cokehead douchebag. He is the embodiment of 80s cokehead douchebags. Like, just the way, like, not even like him sniffing. Like, it's all the tiny mannerisms in there. Like, the way he's licking his teeth and clicking his teeth together. It's like, yeah, man, like, that's small details people don't think about unless you've hung out with cokeheads. He nailed that. But then there's like the scene where he goes to try and like negotiate with Hans Gruber, and it was like, we all know what's gonna happen here. Yep. And then, man, seeing McClane like scream at him to try and stop doing that. It was great because you know McClane doesn't like this douchebag, but he still wants to save him.
Yeah.
But it's not just him. Like, when Winslow's commanding officer shows up, like, he just makes the situation worse. When the FBI shows up, they make the situation way worse.
Yeah, it's like, another spoiler, there was a double cross, so, like...
Yeah, which again goes to show how smart Hans Gruber was.
Yeah, like, he basically had, like, people on the inside, in the FBI, who knew about this operation, so...
But also... Wait, they did? I missed that part.
Well,
what?
Maybe I misread that.
I think you misread that part.
All right, but yeah.
Why do you think he did?
I don't know. It's like they mentioned there was a double crossing, so I assumed
it was Gruber double crossing the FBI. Yeah, it was the fact that he got the FBI on the phone and he said, "Here's my list of demands. Free all these different people." And you can tell he's just bullshit and he doesn't care about any of this. Because literally one of the groups he lists off, one of his other people was like, wait, who are they? And he goes, I saw them in Time magazine. Like, he literally is just making stuff randomly up off the top of his head so that he can get all these demands. So that he can, like, seem like he actually has a reason for doing this other than just money. So then they do it and they give him the helicopter and he's like, yeah, they're just going to give me the helicopter so I can blow up the roof when they land with the helicopter and everyone will think we died and then we can escape with the money. It's like, this guy is so freaking smart. And the FBI guys are so incompetent, which by the way, I love that they both have the same name.
Johnson & Johnson. No relation to the company that makes the baby shampoo, by the way.
Well, they say, what I love is that when they say Johnson & Johnson, no relation, like, you can tell it's just like, they're so cartoonish versions of FBI agents. And the fact that they're so incompetent makes their cartoonishness so much better. Because it's like, wow, this is really just like really hard-hitting commentary about like law enforcement agencies. But yeah, sorry. My allergies have been nuts. I'm not on coke myself. Oh, man, but having to imitate snorting coke up has sent my allergies off now. I've wrecked my face for the rest of this thing. Yeah, when they were flying in there with these helicopters, and they were, like, goofing off and just like, yeah, like, he's pulling his baseball cap around. I was like, they're not professional, like, law enforcement guys. They're just a bunch of douchey frat bros is what they are. And they have access to military-grade hardware. So yeah, they are just constantly pointing out how like everyone in here is just a fucking idiot except for McClane and Winslow. That's it. Do I think someone else did a massive screw up in here? Oh, the news. The news throughout this entire movie, it keeps cutting to the news trying to cover this, and I kept thinking to myself like, I don't know any of these people. Like they're not tied to this in any way. Like, why do you keep coming back to the news? Like, show the news covering this, of course. Like, yeah, show them covering it. But, like, they're really building up the news like they're this big, important side of the story, and they really aren't until the end of this when they track down John McClane's daughter and they force the nanny to make them interview the child on live television. And then when Hans Gruber sees them interviewing the child on live television, he looks at the photo that's on the desk, sees that exact child there, and then goes, I know exactly who his wife is now. Man, sorry, nose still sniffling. It was just stunning me. There's like everybody in here. It's not that McClane has like this impossible task ahead of him because all he's got is like one gun and no shoes and it's a building full of like the most professionally trained terrorists out there. It's also that everybody keeps making it worse. And it's such a great escalation throughout this film.
And it's like the only person who agrees with them and realizes how stupid everyone is and how much everything is fucked up is, you know, Carl. But he's outside. And that's another thing. Like, they never meet face to face.
They have such good chemistry without ever being in the same room with each other.
I know. It's like a buddy cop movie almost. It's
They're so good.
Yeah, and it's like the only time they ever communicate is like on the walkie-talkies, and it's like that's really impressive. It's like I've seen like buddy cop movies with like less chemistry, and they're like on screen together all the time, you know?
Yeah, it was so great, like seeing them bond over this, and a lot of it is coming from John McClane's humanity, the fact that he's so human. Yeah, because you can tell he's not like, no, I'm gonna get this taken care of. I'm going to save the day. You can tell he is in pain, and so Carl Winslow. Sorry, I hate to keep calling Carl Winslow. You guys know who he is. But Carl...
easy does it, Peach. Easy does it.
But Carl just constantly coming in there and giving him reassurance. Just giving him some levity, some friend in the situation. You can tell it's the only thing keeping McClane from snapping at that moment. From just like going, there's no hope. Like, he is that source of hope throughout this film for McClane. And you can see him working his ass out there too, trying to tell these people, no, you idiots, you're falling right into their hands.
Alright, Peach, stop licking my ear.
Man, she was fighting going down like, no, I'm not done licking. Come on, you big dupe. Okay, what else to talk about in this film? I haven't really got a lot else to say about this.
I like how, like, all the small details that they bring up, eventually they come back around.
That's true, there's a lot of that in here. What was one that you're thinking of specifically?
Like, well, there's, like, the story of, like, Carl, like how he, like he never wanted to shoot another person ever again because he accidentally shot a kid, and then he ends up like saving Bruce Willis's life by shooting the guy. And
what's crazy to me is that when they just stop to give this other character this big backstory, this character who we didn't even meet until halfway through the movie, they stop to give him this big backstory. It doesn't feel out of place.
No.
Again, it feels like a moment of like human connection between him and McClane, which is what McClane needed at that moment. He needed some other human out there to talk to. Because that was the scene where he was prying the glass out of his feet. So he needed some kind of distract him from that, and also like kind of like remind him of like, oh yeah, the person I'm talking to is a human being. There is someone out there who I can trust, someone I can work with. So yeah, that was great. And I will admit, the moment that he was like, so I swore I would never fire a gun again, I was like, I know exactly how this movie is going to end. But it was still cool.
Yeah.
Like it's still like, it was one of those things where like, yes, it's predictable, but if you didn't do it, I'd be pissed. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of those tropes that like you actually enjoy in movies.
Man. It's not even a trope. It's like, just like, it's a setup. It is an appropriate setup. And if you don't give me the execution of that setup, I will be mad at you.
Like another one is like the watch Holly, his wife.
Oh God, I forgot that one.
Yeah, she like her douchey boyfriend gave her a fancy Rolex watch. And it's like, you'd think something like that would just be like such a small detail that they just like brush it off and never mention it again. But like, Hans was holding her hostage, and like
as Hans is falling out of the building, he's holding onto her and pulling her down. Which, by the way, can we also point out that great moment of tension where McClane has like the fire escape thing like latched on his stomach, and he's like and it's like now pulling him out the window. It's like, man, that was so good. Hans Gruber is falling out of the building. He's holding on to her just by the watch, and McClane's trying to pull her back in, and they have to undo the watch, and it's just like the last shred of that douchey boyfriend gone. Yeah, it was great. Also, speaking of like how they just took out the douchey boyfriend like that, another great thing about Hans Gruber to me is that when he gets the guy in charge of the Nakatomi Plaza there, and he's like, I'm going to count 3. There will not be a 4. And in my mind, I was like, if you shoot him, you've got nothing. You can't, we know this is a bluff. You can't actually do that. And then he calls him on. He's like, if you kill me, then no one will be able to give you that information. Blam. Oh, damn.
Shit.
Oh. That's one of the reasons that Hans Gruber is a great villain. He's one of the few villains that actually backs up what he says. And you actually get that sense of like, oh no, he will actually murder you.
Yes.
And also
and you will die hard. Sorry.
And that also kind of comes back around to the whole, like, McClane is a human being thing in here. Because when his henchmen are going in there and they're, like, shooting at him, there's a moment when he gets shot in the shoulder while he is running away. And you see a blood splatter just go everywhere. And, yeah, man, it does really make you look at that and go, oh my god, John McClane just got shot. Hans Gruber will murder him. We know he will. We saw him murder other people. So, yeah, I think this movie is dynamite. I think this movie is incredible. It absolutely is. Like I said, I had decades of build up to this thing, and it still worked. Still not a Christmas movie, though. Like, seriously, Gremlins is a freaking Christmas movie. That one actually requires it to be a Christmas. Like, I was talking to you after we got done with this movie, and I said, no, like, nothing in here requires it to be Christmas. And you said, well, they were at a Christmas party. And I was like, there are other excuses for an office to hold a party. It's someone's birthday. We all got promotions. We just built this new building. That's the reason to have the party.
I feel like this probably would have been a Christmas movie if, like, at the end they actually, like, showed, like, John and Holly going home to their kids.
That's one of the reasons why Lethal Weapon to me is a little bit like, maybe it is, because, yeah, that really revolves, because at the end of it, they go to, Danny Glover's place for Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially, like, after, like, the way the news forced the kids onto, like, TV and everything. It's like, come on, I kind of want some closure.
It is kind of weird. You're right. Yeah. I did not think about that.
And, like, the teddy bear in the back of the car, of the chauffeur's car. And
we didn't even talk about the chauffeur. What was his name? Argyle?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have liked a little bit more with him, but I still really like him.
Yeah.
I really like that. Again, even though he's not like Carl out there, who's like giving him support and giving him like connection with another human being in there, which again, I love the fact that Gruber is also hearing everything the two of them are saying the entire time. He's hacked into their line the whole time too, and yet the two of them just don't care, and they're still just like, yeah, listen, you need some like communication here. But yeah, I would have liked a little bit more with him, but I still really dig that he comes back around at the end of this thing. Mm-hmm. Like, I love that, he comes back around and he just wrecks the cab there at the end of the thing to save the day. I thought that was great. And at the end, he drives them home.
Yes.
That was great.
Yes.
That was a perfect, again, I would have liked if we saw them, with the family.
Yeah, like maybe like as the credits roll, they will like show them like.
In all fairness, I went to the bathroom while the credits were rolling, so maybe it did show that.
No, I was there.
Okay,
so.
good. But yeah, that would have been a nice thing to roll over the credits.
Yeah, that's what
I think that was the perfect thing to go out on right before the credits start rolling up. He still drove them home, like he said he was going to. Mm-hmm. So yeah, even though this is not a Christmas movie, and for anybody out there who's like, yeah, but use Christmas wrapping to tie the gun to his back. Duct tape. Mm-hmm. It's a brand new building. They're still putting it together. There would be a maintenance cart around with some duct tape in it. That is not necessary for it to be wrapping paper. Also, as good as the line is, now I have a machine gun, ho, 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 it doesn't change the plot in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, things like Gremlins. Gremlins, to me, is the one that everybody should be going, no, this is a Christmas movie. Because, yes, Gizmo is a Christmas present. Mm-hmm. Literally, like, he's talking about his job at the bank because of Christmas. And he doesn't know what's going to happen after Christmas. And then the Gremlins are running amok on Christmas, and it's kind of a big deal that it's on Christmas.
And the girl's like, now I have another reason to hate Christmas.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, man. Gremlins is the one that should be this meme. Even Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is a little bit more of a Christmas thing, because that actually specifically requires a Christmas party at one point, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah.
We'll save that for next year.
Yeah. I swear to God, one of these years I am going to do the Humbugathon. But for now, I'm going to give this movie, this is almost a 9.5 for me. Like, I'll give this a 9, but man, it is close to a 9.5. I still can't go up to 10, because there are like little tiny nitpicks in here.
Yeah, I think I'll
But none of the nitpicks are like, upsetting anyone.
No,
like,
exactly.
well, how come this thing? It's like, no, it's just like, I would have liked it if I had gotten a little bit more of that. Like, it's that kind of nitpick. Like, none of the nitpicks are things that take away from it. It just would have added a little bit more in there.
Yeah, it's like, I think I'll give it a 9 too. It's like, this movie is like, what, over 2 hours long? Like,
it's 2.5. It's 2 hours and 12 minutes long, and it does not feel like
that's the thing. Is like, I feel like there were times where it felt like it could have ended, but if it did, it would just been like another typical action movie.
Yeah.
So like the fact that they like added more to it and like added more suspense to it, that's what bumps it up from like an average action movie to like a really great action movie.
Every single thing that you're right. When you look at this, you can spy places where they could have trimmed stuff out. You could have trimmed some of the henchmen stuff down. You could have trimmed easily this part and this part out of it, but it wouldn't have made a better movie by doing it. This is stuff where everything that they add into this movie made it better. It still would have been a comprehensible movie. You still would have been able to understand it. The plot still would have made sense if you cut this down to an hour and a half. But it would not have made a better movie. It is a better movie for everything that they kept in this film. So yeah, this is easily a 9 out of 10 for me. But yeah, thank you guys very much. Let us know your favorite Christmas movie that isn't a typical Christmas movie in the comments down below.
Your atypical Christmas movie.
Yeah, Krampus, which by the way, I know people hate the Krampus. I like the Krampus. We almost reviewed the Krampus this year. We will save that next year for the Humbugathon. But thank you guys very much for tuning in, and happy holidays.
Yes, bye.
Bye.